Should you sell your house when the market shifts? When buyers start to have more power, is it a good idea to sell your house? In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 questions you should ask yourself when thinking about whether or not now is the right time as our market begins to shift. Find a real estate professional who you can talk to because he or she will help you decide whether your personal situation is the right situation for buying or selling in today's market. And hopefully they'll be able to ask you some questions as well that will help in making that decision. They'll also be able to help you with structuring timing and pricing to make your listing the most marketable in today's shifting market. One of the biggest questions you need to ask yourself is, what is the purpose of your move? Are you growing your family? Is your family shrinking? Are you trying to move out of the snow? Are you trying to move to warmer temperatures? I hear that if you have arthritis, the dry heat here is really good for you. But really, what is your why? That's the most important thing to know because you're going to have to remind yourself of that why all along the transaction process. Another really important question to ask yourself is, what do I owe on my house? And if what I do owe and can make back in equity, would it be enough to purchase my next step home, whether that be downsizing or upgrading? Another thing that I like to think about is after you pay off your home and include a lot of fees that a lot of sellers don't think about. You're going to have closing fees. You could possibly have some fees that come along with your inspection process. Those buyers are going to ask you to make some repairs or give them some cash in lieu of those repairs. Be prepared to reduce that off of your asking price and make sure that is still okay with your net settlement. I personally like to provide each of my clients, before they make that decision, a net sheet, which will show them 3 prices, high, medium, and low, which will show your net proceeds after all taxes, closing fees, and possibly having some small percentage of money that you might have to give back to the buyer for repairs. Another thing to consider as well are appraisal differences. In the past couple of years, we've had a lot of buyers just waive appraisals. As the market is shifting, that's not happening quite so often anymore. And I personally don't ever recommend my buyers to waive an appraisal because who wants to buy a house for more than it's worth? And then 5 years down the road, you're gonna be mad at me because you did that. I personally don't ever recommend buyers waive appraisals. It is something that I always educate my sellers on, that if that appraisal does come in low, they need to be prepared to either renegotiate, maybe meet in the middle, or reduce their price all the way down to what that appraised value came in at. Another dilemma a lot of my sellers have is, where am I gonna go if my house sells? First, as our market is shifting, we're not seeing our listings fly off the shelves. You do have some time to either look for that new home that you're trying to buy, or what a lot of people have been doing is selling their home and finding a rental home in the area while they wait for things to settle. I don't necessarily recommend waiting for things to settle because you're wasting time in the market for yourself, for the purchase end. But if it is something you're deciding to do, take some time to think about, what will we do if we sell this house? I tell my sellers, you always have the option for asking for a rent back. It's a very common practice that a lot of sellers don't know about. What is a rent back? If you don't know, it's where the sellers go into contract, close escrow, and then ask the buyer for a rent back. Usually these are 30 to 60 days. And of course your rent is gonna be probably at a premium because you are going to have to cover that buyer's mortgage payment, but it is a nice solution for the seller if their house happens to sell before they have somewhere to go. Something I hope that your agent will be able to educate you on is how the market is shifting. Do you understand the market? This is one of the biggest questions you have to ask yourself as a seller. We are having an influx of buyers, yes, but we also are entering a time, or have already entered a time, where our interest rates are really going sky high and the stock market is low. So a lot of buyers are really scared to put an offer in right now. They may look at your house and really want it, But to actually put an offer in and be committed to that house is really hard for a buyer right now. Be educated by your agent about timing and that it's going to take some time on your home. Remember that even though all these buyers are coming into the market and wanting to move to Vegas, those interest rates are rising. Buyers also have much less buying power. If there were 10 buyers that were able to buy your house 6 months ago, there may only be 2 or 3 left that can actually afford your home anymore. Patience is a virtue right now in the selling market. That leads me to my next question. Are you willing to be patient? And are you willing to be competitive with all of the new listings that are coming on the market? It really is true. They say it takes 30 days to break a habit. And in the last 2 years, our sellers have been really spoiled. Sellers have really just had complete control over the real estate transaction, and that's what they've been used to. In the past, we had such a shortage of listings, and there was just a frenzy of buyers that were coming on. We had cash buyers, 10 to 14-day closes, multiple offers that were above list. And those times are over. That is not happening anymore as this market shifts. And so we really need to be more educated on the fact that your listing can sit for 60 plus days sometimes, and that those buyers are going to be asking for more. They usually are offering below list, asking for repairs, asking for home warranties, and they're definitely asking to be paying for the appraised value. I know that there are some special listings out there. For example, I have a listing right now in a gated community. It's a tract home, but the home has so many things to offer that we listed it a little above market. When you have that special listing, can you ask for above market? In today's shifting market, yes, you can. But remember that it's going to take that special buyer, which is going to take more time, and it's going to take a lot of extra special marketing. Those are things you should be asking your agent about, because not every agent markets equally. I do a lot of out of the box marketing for my clients. We're already on 10,000 different websites throughout the world with my listings. But when I incorporate social media influencers and YouTube influencers, it makes a big difference on the reach of your listing. So these things are really important in today's shifting market that you might want to be sure to ask your agent when interviewing them. What are you going to do to market my listing and make it stand out above the rest? By the way, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lisa Lopez and I'm a real estate consultant in the Las Vegas area. I specialize in luxury real estate, and I have a passion in helping busy families just like you find the American dream of home ownership through my personalized concierge service that I take with each and every one of my clients. Subscribe to my channel for more videos about real estate and the Las Vegas area. Next, I ask all of my clients, are you willing to be realistic? I completely understand wanting to get the most out of your listing. Everybody does. I do too. I own a home, I own many homes. I want the most out of my listings for sure. But in today's shifting market, we also need to be sensitive to the fact that you're going to have buyers that have other options, and you're going to have more educated and discerning buyers that are A, going to put an offer in on your house under list. B, buyers are not willing to waive the appraisals or inspections and repairs. In short, are you willing to be realistic on your list price and what's going to come once you go under contract, which would be all of the other expenses that buyer may ask you to take on? Remember, sellers are just like you, and they do typically think that their home is worth a lot more than what it actually is. A lot of times I have clients that will say, yeah, but my house is on a cul-de-sac, so I should get $100,000 more for that. But think about it. If you were a buyer, would you pay $100,000 more just because a house is on a cul-de-sac? Probably not. And me as your agent would tell you, It's really not worth $100,000 more just because it's on a cul-de-sac. Now, is that house to the buyer worth everything as a whole package $100,000 more? Maybe so. But as a seller, as we're choosing your price, we do need to take into consideration that all the things that you think will bring your listing hundreds of thousands of dollars more aren't necessarily that important to the buyer. So it's all personal preference and finding that specific buyer. In order to draw the buyers, that price has to be right in the beginning so that the appeal is there when that buyer's searching your home out on the internet. In being realistic on price, also remember that if your house is priced too high, it will sit on the market longer, which then can actually cost you as the seller more money because you're paying your mortgage payment, interest, taxes, homeowner's insurance, and things of that nature. As a seller, when you are pricing your home, you need to remember your goals. Is it to make the most equity as possible and you're just trying to cash out? Or do you have a purpose for moving and you want to put that purpose and your top dollar value together, then come up with the price? Because someone who's just listing their home to see how much money they can make is going to be much different than someone who has a purpose. All of that is very important, and you have to be realistic about your why and your price, because sitting on the market is not always a good thing. I'm saying to be patient, but yet be realistic and not let your house sit on the market too long. Price improvements are happening a lot these days, and a lot of people think it's because the sky is falling in the real estate market, and I don't so much think that. I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't think the sky is falling. I think it's just those sellers becoming educated that they can't ask for any price and shoot for the stars and expect to get it. They're actually having to be realistic, and they're seeing that when their listings are sitting and maybe nobody's even having any interest in them, doing a price adjustment or a price improvement can actually help bring them traffic, which will then in turn sell their property. For more videos on how to prepare your home to sell in a competitive market, be sure to check out my other videos on how to prep your home for a listing. See you on the next one.